Welcome back, Global War in 1939. We are moving on to Japan's seventh turn of the game. So let's take a look at their purchases before we talk about anything else. So we are going with, yes, another Amato class battleship. There'll be 4 total. 5 infantry for 15, 2 special naval landing force, 2 amphibious tanks. They are 6 each. They are definitely worth it. Way better than the light tank, and it costs the same. You just get bonuses from doing an amphibious attack. 1 transport, 1 sub, and then 4 destroyers. For our actual moves, we do have 5 battles to declare, 2 of which are up in Russia. One's a walk-on. The other one, that bomber on the last Allied turn that came from Hawaii, did attack 1 lone transport in Sea Zone 124 by itself. That's fine. But it was forced to land in Russia. Of course, you're going to land it with the infantry. However, it does put it at grave peril, as we're just going to go kill it. So we'll definitely win in that exchange. He's trading a transport for a bomber. Economically, I'm ahead by 5 in that exchange. Dollar value, anyways. Now, certainly America has enough money to repurchase it. That's no issues. And it'll just get deployed back in their home country and away from us. Now, also in that Russian territory, there is a fort. However, that fort only gets engaged if you make an amphibious attack. So if I use a transport to attack it, then you'll have a fort, increasing the defense of the infantry. And of course, the fort itself has a combat value of 10, or 2 dice at 5. But we won't be doing that. We'll just be attacking via land. So we don't. The fort won't even be engaged. We'll just fight the infantry as normal, and of course the bomber. So that's those 2 battles. The rest will be down here in the ocean. He does have his entire UK Mediterranean Indian Ocean fleet in this location. Outside of this, the only navy he has left, he has an escort carrier down by Africa. The Americans got a bunch of transports, but nothing threatening. And all of his warships are in the Atlantic, or the Americans in the Pacific, and the Anzac, of course, in their home country. So we have an opportunity to completely, not just cripple, but completely wipe out the British fleet. This is not the move that I actually do want to make with the Japanese. However, this is too tempting to leave alone or to ignore, as if we did ignore it and do what my initial intent, these guys would just cause me problems later on. So let's just get rid of it now. So in order to take care of all 3 sea zones, luckily most of my fleet is Sea Zone 75. I do have access to a naval port, and I have a small fleet in Sea Zone 70, which is only 2 spaces away, so no need for the port there at all. Now, in order to actually get at that transport, I'll need to go through 67, which is fine. So we're going to bring up 6 subs in the Sea Zone 67, and then 2 normal fighters. 1 sub is not engaging in this battle. If I win, which I will, but if I win, then this sub will be permitted to continue on through and fight that transport. This will be a combat value of 4 versus 1. Here, I have a combat value of 32, so I'm guaranteed 2 hits and a roll of die at 8 or less to get the 3rd. He will get 1 hit, so I will definitely lose a sub, but it's worth that exchange. For the rest of his fleet, I'll be essentially going in with everything else. So an Amato class, 3 regular battleships, 10 cruisers, 9 destroyers, 4 torpedo bombers, 1 fighter, 2 veteran fighters, and aircraft carrier. The other 2 aircraft carriers, they're not needed in this battle. There's no fighters in this battle for him. He doesn't have fighters at the airbase, so I don't have to worry about scramble or none of that nonsense. It'll just be straight up naval engagement. So we're good to go. And then down here, he has enough destroyers to negate the first strike capability. So all of his destroyers will return fire. Not a big deal. All right, let's get. So we already got those two. Like I said, all this, minus the two aircraft carriers will be going into 68. And like I said, for the main battle, I have a combat value of 65, so that'll give me 13 hits with a possibility of getting a 14th on a roll of a 9 or less. He has a combat value of 58, so he'll get 4 hits with a possibility of a 10 or less to get the 5th. And then with the Russians all the way up here, what are we going to do? Well, the Amur is just a walk-on, so it's not really a big deal. Sorry, my apologies. I was just planning things out. But I do have 2 destroyers and transport up here. They will be coming down to 124. We'll grab one guy and then land him off, and that's a walk-on. Perfect. And then for this territory, for these units, so artillery, heavy artillery, veteran infantry, and special naval landing force, they will be joined by the 2 zeros in C Zone 106. And then also the veteran fighter here will be going up 1, 2, 3. They'll have a movement of 2 left, and then these guys can get there and back to the aircraft carrier, no problem. They do have a movement of 5, so 2 there, 2 back, no problem. And that will secure my 3 hits. He'll get 1 die roll of a 10 or less to see if he secures a hit. And then outside of that, it'll just be non-combat moves, unit placement. Pretty simple. All right, let's do the easy battles first, and then we'll work on the big one. Or do you want to do the big one first? Yeah, let's do the big one first. All right, give me a second to get that set up now. I'm just going to pause it, lay everything on the battle board, and then we'll discuss the battle further. Okay, thank you for waiting there. Can you see? No, it's bad. Okay, so we'll bring in all the carriers now anyways. I was going to move them in the non-combat phase, but I'll just bring them all up now. They're not actually going to do anything in this battle. He doesn't have any planes, so they'll just observe, get some experience, all that good stuff. Okay, so when I calculated this out, his combat value is 58. Yes, but 2 of that 58 is his aircraft carrier, which can only shoot at planes. So we'll have to roll that separately. So that gives him a combat value, if you subtract that, of 56. And then, so that gives him a die roll of 8 or less to land a hit, which I'm pretty confident it will. This way he just rolls 2 dice. 1 for the carrier to see if it lands a hit against the fighter, and the 8 to see if it lands the 5th hit against the Navy. Same thing with the torpedo bombers. I'm going to negate their first strike ability of 1 or 2, and we'll just let him have that, so I'm not too worried about it. Which in this battle is not even going to matter. Even let's assume all 4 of them roll 1s. I'm essentially going to one-shot this entire fleet, so it's not really going to matter at all. All right, so like I said, 165, I get 13 hits, and then 1 die at 9 to see if I get the 14th. So let's do that now. 6, perfect. So I get the 14th hit. So we're good. See if his aircraft carrier hits. Rolls 11. So So it does not. And then he lands 4 hits. Let's see if he gets his 5th. This is at 8 or less. Got a 6. So he got his 5th hit. Perfect. Cool. So I sustained 5 damage, which luckily I have battleships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all my battleships are now sustained damage. They get reduced down to 6s, all of them. Perfect. So they're now max damage. And then he lands 14 hits against. So this will be 1, 2. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Boom. So that's his entire fleet gone. Round 2, obviously I hit the 2 transports. He has 1 die at 2 to see if he shoots back. Landed. Oh, can't even see it. I apologize. I should roll that again. That was kind of way off the camera. So let's roll it again. Rolled a 1. So we'll sustain damage on the aircraft carrier as the 6th hit. Wasn't expecting that at all, but here we go. And that is dead. Okay. Let's get rid of this. I'm just going to pause it while I put that back in the board to get set up for the next battle. Okay, perfect. And the reason why I re-roll that, even though initially he rolled a 9, but re-roll it, give him the 1 because it wasn't really on the camera, and should always, under any circumstances, give the benefit of the doubt to your opponent. And just to keep everything even and fair and all that good stuff. Okay, so what do we say here? Oh yeah, well, I got a combat value of 32, sorry. So that gives me 2 hits, perfect. So he'll lose 2 destroyers, and then I get a die roll of 8 or less to see if I land the last hit. Rolled a 6, perfect. So I got all 3 hits, excellent. He has a combat value of 12, I'll lose a sub, and he loses all 3 destroyers. And now the last battle will be the sub versus transport. So let's put all this back on the map. Sub versus transport. So I got a combat value of 4, first strike. Got a 6. He returns with a 3, 4. Got a 9. Ooh, scary. Got a 6. I got a 4. Rolled a 3. Boom. He's dead. Excellent. Okay. Things are going very well. So essentially he lost his entire fleet and it only cost me 1 sub. So that is a fantastic exchange, if I do say so myself. Yes, all my battleships are now damaged. Totally fine. Not a big deal. I do have a port right there. I can go repair them. And then we're back in action. He does have a counterattack with his Air Force. I doubt if he will. He can land... he's got 2 7s, 2 6s, 3 7s, sorry. 2 6s, an 8, and a 3. So he'll be able to kill, 3 destroyers, and he will lose his entire Air Force. Right now, he doesn't have any factories outside of military bases. Yes, he will build a factory, but it'll take him a couple turns to rebuild those aircraft. I can't see him doing that exchange. That would not make sense. And the reason why we brought subs into these 2 engagements, so the only target he has really is in my main fleet in C-Zone 68. and that would be a suicide mission. He's not going to make that exchange for 3 destroyers. That would be crazy. And a complete waste of money for the UK Commonwealth. Considering he just lost a crazy amount of money in his navy. All right, so we're now way up here. We already did the walk-on battle, so let's do this one. Like I already said, the veteran fighter and the 2 zeros are going in. And he's got his 3 units, and I got my 4. I got 7 total. All right, let's bring you back over here again, and then we'll do the non-combat. That's all dead. Okay. Okay, so I got 2 artillery, so my guys get boosted. So that's 8, 11. That's a hit. Let's see, 8. That's a hit. That's a hit. 7. These 2 are 11. That'll be 14. So I got all 3 hits. He's got 8 and a die roll of 10. Rolls an 8. Again, not on the camera. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. All right, so he lands his hit. I'll lose a Special Naval Landing Force. He loses the bomber and the 2 Russians. I captured the territory. The fort is also destroyed. And we are good. All right, that's gone. And that territory is now mine. This significantly weakens the Russians over here. They've now lost $4 worth of income. Yes, they can go after Amur again. But then he has to worry about the counter. So I don't know if he wants to do that. We'll see, maybe. And the fighters, the zeros will go back to the carrier that it came from. And the veteran came from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The veteran can go back, maybe even go back to Tokyo. Yeah, let's go back to Tokyo. Might as well. Might as well. All right, so, and now the Air Force down here, that carrier that got damaged was going to be the landing spot for those 2 fighters. But, so they came from 75, they moved 2 space, they got 2 left, so we'll just put them in Sumatra. So the bomber can reach there, but again, is he really going to suicide his bomber for not even a possibility of doing anything? Because he would have to roll a die of 8 or less. 8 is a pretty high number. Likelihood he could, but he'll guarantee to lose his bomber. I don't think he'll do that, but we never know. Okay, non-combat moves. Non-combat moves. We have 3 transports, 2 in 70 and 1 in 85. So the 1 in 85 will go back up to 124. The 2 in 70 will go to 106. All right, fancy. For here, the 3 self-propelled artillery will go to Piling. This artillery will also go to Piling. They got 2 infantry here. Special Naval Landing Force will back out 1, leaving the 1 guy behind. And that should be it there. Everything in this territory is going to move back to Diling. Fantastic, fantastic. The 2 destroyers in 106 2 destroyers at 106. We'll go to 124, 123. Drop off a guy in Diling. Cool. The air transport has an infantry in Tokyo. He's going to come down to Chujami, land him, return to Tokyo. The air transport down here in Slebs. Let's move him in a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll land him in Shanghai. All right, that's good. That's good. That's really it. All right, so let's do our purchases. So the Navy that we bought, that will go into 125. So that's 4 destroyers, sub, and an Armada-class battleship. So we'll get 2 there now. The transport will go into 124. The 3 infantry will go into Shanghai. Then the other 2 infantry, I'm just going to chip out. We're going to Tokyo or into the southern Japanese territory, and the 2 Special Naval Landing Force and the 2 tanks will go into Tokyo. Very good, very good. All right, let me look at the economics and I'll get back to you. Okay, so with all of our income or all of our territories, we actually have 75, and we still have 2. We got a $5 bonus or 2 $5 bonuses. My apologies, my math is off. So we'll end up with, let's say, 75 in territories and 11 in bonuses. So that's 86 to spend on our next turn. Fantastic. Yes, 86 on our next turn. That is wonderful. Okay, so that is it for the Japanese Empire. Moving or passing the turn back to the Allies and see how they respond to all of our maneuvers. All right, well, thank you for watching. Have yourself a great day.